Then on Sports Central, we go over USFL game preview and prediction on the Week 2 matchup between the New Orleans Breakers and the Tampa Bay Bandits. Both teams looking like two of the best teams in the league heading into Week 2, as both teams got wins in Week 1, and also both teams are looking like some of the most complete teams in the USFL, that is for sure. Should make for a good matchup coming up here in Week 2. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Breakers, they beat Philadelphia 23-17 in Week 1. Good win for them as they are 1-0, and they're facing off against the Bandits, a team that beat Pittsburgh 17-3 in Week 1. That was a huge win for the Bandits. They controlled the Maulers and only allowed them to score 3 points, which was definitely impressive. But yeah, both teams here, definitely some of the most complete teams in the USFL. I mean, the Breakers defensively definitely have upside, and their offense too. I mean, their rushing game really was tough on the Stars in Week 1. And for the Bandits, of course, I mean, this team is widely considered to be the best team, the most complete team in the league, with Jordan Ta'amu, who is definitely considered to be the best quarterback in the league. Offensively, they're complete. Defensively, they got talent, lots of it. And so, certainly, this is going to make for a good matchup, probably the best matchup of Week 2. Games be on Sunday, April 24th in Birmingham, and your kickoff time is 3 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going Bandits here by 2.5 points, and your over-under is 40.5. And as you can see in our Week 2 rankings for the USFL, we got the Bandits at number 1 and the Breakers at number 3. Certainly, I mean, for me, Tampa Bay was the best team in I think they're the best team in the league for sure right now. They maybe weren't the most impressive team in Week 1. I think the Breakers were. I mean, the Stallions probably were the most impressive team in Week 1, if you ask me, considering they put up 28 points. And I mean, overall, it was a pretty impressive game if you watched it. I mean, offensively, they got things done, and defensively, they allowed 24 points to the Generals. But I mean, still, they definitely looked physical, and that was definitely not common with a few of the other teams that played this weekend. But yeah, the Bandits, I've got them at number 1 in our rankings, and the Breakers at number 3. Breakers are definitely capable of being the top team in the league as well. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Breakers, 23 points a game. Well, these are just your stats from last week. You got 150 rush or pass yards last week, and then 171 rush yards for the Breakers. And then for yards allowed, 173 passing, and then 73 for rushing. So certainly, I mean, for the Breakers, their rush defense was what was good in their matchup last week against the Stars, only allowing 73 yards. If you do look at, I mean, their passing game was not very good, 150 pass yards last week, but the rushing game, I mean, Kyle Sloter, he's a dual threat quarterback, and he rushed for a decent amount last week, and the rushing game in general, the backfield was good. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on here for New Orleans. And then for the Bandits, they got 180 pass yards last week, 64 rush yards. So obviously, when you got Jordan Ta'amu, who's the best quarterback in the league, you're going to be passing the ball a lot. They got a pretty deep receiving core as well, which is huge. And their defense also was excellent, allowing 97 pass yards and then 89 rush yards, both under 100 yards, which is very impressive. So, yeah, the Bandits, once again, statistically, they were simply excellent against the Maulers. And considering Pittsburgh was expected to have potentially one of the best offenses in the league, I mean, that was very impressive. And they still can. I mean, it's still very early on. There's no doubt with that. But yeah, for now, I mean, the Bandits in that Week 1 matchup definitely looked really good offensively or defensively, only allowing 3 points. Key points for this one: Breakers' rushing game is going to be where this team does excel. Defensively, they show plenty of upside, and they're capable of being the best team in the league for sure. I mean, this rushing game, once again, that was where this team played well offensively last week. I mean, their passing game was okay. I mean, Kyle Sloter, he's a dual threat quarterback. He's a good rusher, and so, I mean, the backfield's also pretty good for New Orleans, so that's probably going to be where this team excels offensively, is in the rushing game. Defensively, they got plenty of upside too. They allowed 17 points to the Stars, but they certainly, I mean, this defense is pretty complete as well. They got a lot of depth and experience that a lot of teams do not have. So yeah, they're capable of being the best team in the league for sure. Bandits got the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion, Jordan Ta'amu, and that's widely thought of, is that he's the best quarterback in the USFL, and you can see why. I mean, he's got experience. If you look at the XFL, he was probably the best quarterback there. I mean, PJ Walker was also good, but Jordan Ta'amu, I mean, yeah, he was incredibly impressive in the XFL, and he's had a few opportunities to get in the NFL. Hasn't really worked out for him yet, so obviously he's got huge motivation here. He's a player that you could see in the NFL eventually. I mean, he's got the talent to do so, but I mean, And this could be a huge resume builder for him if he does well in the USFL. They held the Maulers to 3 points last week, obviously impressive, and I would say this team is the most complete team in the league defensively. They got plenty of experience and size that a lot of teams don't have. And I mean, once again, their defense allowing 3 points to the Maulers is definitely impressive. But that's let's get to the prediction here for Breakers and Bandits coming up here in week 2 of the USFL. I'm going to go with the Bandits here. 21-17 is my predicted final score. I just feel like the Bandits here, the more complete team. I'm more comfortable picking them in this situation. You got two of, I would say, the top 3 teams in the league right now. And Tampa, both teams are good defensively for sure, but when it comes to offense, you got the Breakers who are good with the rushing, the passing, not so much it seems. And for the Bandits, of course, you get probably the best quarterback in the league, I'd say, in Jordan Teamu, plus the rushing game isn't terrible for Tampa Bay. So you got more complete offense versus the Breakers, who's more of a rushing offense. And either way, I feel like the Bandits are, once again, just the better team in this situation. It's going to be close, but I'm going to go with the Bandits here. 21-17 is my predicted final score. 55% towards Tampa Bay. Over-under is 40.5. I'll take the under for this one. More of a lower scoring matchup, and that's kind of the thing about the USFL here in the first couple of weeks is, these offenses have hardly played with each other, and that was obviously a struggle. That was a struggle when they played in week 1 for the first time. And so I'm going to go with the Bandits here, 21-17. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.